Welcome to Corinne's Picks. I'm your host, Corinne Basabe. Today we are delighted to have as a guest Susan L. Nathenson.
Thank you.
She is a dynamic ceramicist. I've seen her work at the Pelham Arts Center and just was so enthusiastic that she agreed to be on our show. Welcome to Corinne's Picks.
Thank you so much, Corinne, to invite me. I am so delighted to be here.
But, I've seen your book. I've looked through your book on your ceramics, and it really spans a large series of years from your early beginnings as a college student to now, still an active artist between Hungary and the United States. Tell us a little bit about the journey and some of the major exhibits that you've had.
Well, I started my career in school, and I exhibited all along as I studied different techniques in different universities and countries, and my whole contact with clay became very deep and emotional and forever lasting through my whole life. So I'm just very blessed to have this material at my hands, and so I love to teach it, I love to do it, and this is my whole life, really. After I raised my children and my family was all right. So thank you for inviting me, and I am just so happy to explain how it all happened.
It's normally I would ask you what your artwork is about, but your artwork seemed to change so drastically through the different eras. So it doesn't seem like it's about one thing. So tell us about what the journey has been like. What was the main ideas of your art when you started, and why did you start doing ceramics?
Well, when I was traveling with my husband in England, I met and saw tremendous amount of galleries and museums, and met some very important artists in my life that inspired me to start exploring this medium. And I was very lucky to be able to attend school in Washington University, and then George Washington University in Washington, D.C., where I really fell in love with wheel throwing, hand building, and met some very famous people who came to demonstrate and inspire us in the classroom. And that was what just fired me on and on and on, and it just never stops. The love and exploring of this medium that is so textile and so easy to manipulate, and to be able to do all the techniques to lead to my sculptures and my functional work is a challenge, and has been very, very wonderful for me to do. So
I want to show the audience a short video of you actually working on what I guess what ceramicists use is a wheel to form and shape the material.
Yes.
Because we're going to talk very deeply about each piece of work that we have today. But I want them to see the process first. So can we have that first video?
piece of Torres. Just finished.
So, what is your process in deciding what to make? Are you just in the moment creating that piece of work, or did you think that out ahead of time?
Well, I have a goal when I sit down at a wheel or doing hand building at a table. I have an idea, and then once I get to that finish that goal, it leads me to other things. It's amazing how the clay talks back to you, and start to you just don't have to think anymore. It will inspire you to do manipulate it into something very exciting.
And what I really love about your work is that it's very, some of it looks very experimental. It's not all, you know, bowls or vases, but some of it are very intriguing. Some of them look very primal or kind of primitive or like indigenous art. So let's start looking at some of these images. Can we see the first image, please?
Okay. That is a clay piece, yes, that was formed by hand building and some mold making, and actually it started out in a box where I laid the slab, and then I manipulated the slab, and then I decided to have the three graces embossed in the middle. And then the glazing was also very important, how I surrounded the image. And it was fired 2 times, and it can hang on the wall or it can stand on a table. And it's just very exciting to go with this technique and fly with it. There is so much you can do with this slab technique.
Yeah, I really love the surface of that. It just reminds me of like the three graces remind me of cave paintings a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, can we have the next slide?
This is an intersection. There are 2 slabs that I put together, but the slabs, before I put them together, I put texture onto it and impress the texture with a rolling pin. And then at the other end of it, when it's already bisque fired, I rub the underglaze into it to accentuate the texture. And then there is this 2 slabs that I can put together by just sliding them together. And it can stand on the table, it can go on a bookshelf, and you can have a message on this also.
So is this about form? Like, is this a subject matter, or just about the form, or just something that you just created out of your spirit?
Well, it again happens as I work with the clay. It tells me what can I do with it, and it's just endless, the possibilities, which is so exciting.
I think sometimes when you create art, because as you know, I'm a painter as well, sometimes when you create art, the enjoyment is actually in the discovery and the process, not necessarily the end result, but just trying to make it work and figure things out.
Corinne, you're so right on that. Yes, that's exactly how I feel about it.
Because that piece looks very complex and almost just trying to, you have different layers, different dimensions, and trying to, you know, just your heart tells you when you're finished, basically.
Right. Yes, correct. Yeah, it's just how it happens.
Okay, so let's see the next one.
This is much more involved.
So what is the story behind this one?
I had a student who was very young out of school, and she was suffering from cancer, and she was my student for a whole year before she died, and she asked me to do a castle in her memory. So this was by the parents. They asked me to construct something in her memory that she would like. And this is a castle which has an entrance when she was born, and you see that part. And then on the other side is the when she died and the date of her death. And then on the top is a place for candles when
Oh, wow.
we think about her, and also some incense can also go there. So it's a candle, an incense, and ash holder. It's sort of a multi memory of this 24-year-old beautiful young girl. She did a lot of work for her parents, did plates and things with me, and they have them also.
Oh, okay. So you actually have some of her work as well.
Yes.
It's wonderful. So we have about a minute and a half until we go to a commercial break. I think we have time for one quick image. So tell us a little bit about this one.
This one is many parts. I did it at Columbia University Teachers College, where they had a big hill, and this is a fountain that is like 3-4 feet tall, and the faces on the top that have the water coming out of is impressed into the New Rochelle College library wall.
Wow.
I made
Wow.
I made an impression with
Wow.
clay of the gargoyles they have there, and that's what I attached into this four-sided water fountain. So that was fun, and it's made out of 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and the bottom is a wheel thrown large piece.
Wow.
So it was put together. Yeah.
That's amazing. So we're going to go to a short commercial break, and we'll be back talking to Susan L. Nathenson. Welcome back. We've been talking to Susan L. Nathenson about her works in ceramics. We've talked a lot about your work in ceramics here and a little bit about your journey. Tell us about your career in Hungary. I know part of the year you're in Hungary, and I know that you're going to be going to Hungary in a couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, after many years, I actually started my career in America and all over Europe, but I was able to go back to Hungary after I felt safe enough to go back and visit there almost every year. And now I go back quite regularly because I have a contact with a wonderful ceramic place in Kecskemét where I can work and do all sorts of different firings like raku firings, smoke firings, and experiment and meet other ceramic artists from all over Europe and America. So that place is one of the reasons I go back, plus the fact that I have my house that I absolutely adore, and it's left, it's from my grandparents' time, and it has a beautiful garden, a secret garden near the castle district in Budapest, and that is very dear to me. So I love the language, I love to practice it, and I have lots of friends in Budapest.
That's
So-
terrific. And you told me that you're going to be going to, that special camp, and that from morning till night, every day, you're
Yes.
going to be just working, creating work,
Yes.
and having people fire your work.
Yes, the International Ceramic place is in Kecskemét, and it is really devoted to do experiments. It has many kilns, and many interesting people go there and work, and you mingle with them, and you just eat and drink the work. It's
Oh,
just
fantastic.
wonderful.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's look at some more of your work. I think we have quite a few images. I want to make sure we get through them all. So tell us a little bit about, the construction of this piece and some of the ideas behind it.
Okay, well, this reminds me of the art time in Bar Harbor, Maine, where we were close to the ocean, and I just have several sculptures that I did like this with a rope, and it just also usually I select wonderful rocks that I put into the sculpture. It's right now not in there because it was moved, but those are extruded tubes that I manipulate into a sculpture, and then I also will throw the vase and put them everything together when it's leather hard, and that is a wonderful time when I can play with the shape and the structure of this process is very rewarding.
I think this piece really demonstrates that science and art really, science and math is actually a really integral part of the creation of art, because you have to do so many things, there's so many decisions to be made that are scientific, that are based in math, and to make this piece work.
Right. Well, I am not a scientist, but but it does need to be calculated and planned ahead to put it together, and it happens, and I really enjoyed this process and made several sculptures in this manner.
Because it's also about balance. I mean, your eyes, you're changing different combinations, but your eyes know instinctively what balance is. Right?
Right. I feel that. Yes, it's something that that comes naturally to arrange and do, and it's very satisfying.
Okay, so let's look at the next one.
These are very tall sculptures. They're in my book also, and those are extruded tubes that I wanted to put together to talk to each other, and then stand them up and say something. So I will let the people who look at it decide what they want them to say, these sculptures, what they express.
You remind me of ritual sticks, except for a ritual, but what are the actual materials? Is it just different color glazes on clay, or is it different materials as well?
Well, actually, it is all clay, and but treated indifferently. The pipes are actually unglazed, and it's just the raw clay without any covering, and fired 2 times. They're very strong, and they show the beautiful color of the earth that they're made out of. And then the darker parts and the bent parts are treated with copper carbonate, and it's a metal that turns black, and if I would put glaze on it, it turns green, and that's very exciting to play with that, but this is the effect I wanted to achieve.
So are you creating the glaze color, or are you just buying it basically as is and using it as is, or is the hues of the glaze part of the process?
Well, the glaze is also part of the work that I do, and I can make glazes in big buckets with at least 12 ingredients, copper, cobalt, and all sorts of different chemicals that you put in to. It sometimes takes 12 ingredients to make a glaze, and then you sieve it, and then you let it sit in the water, and then you can pour it or paint it onto the clay. And that is a whole other part of ceramics, the glaze part. Yeah, that's where science comes in.
Wow, wow! It's a lot of
Yeah.
it's a lot to learn and to
Yeah.
master.
Yes, the glaze part is glaze chemistry. Yes.
And it could really make or break a piece in terms of making it really pop and really be
Right.
brilliant.
Right, right. So nowadays, when I teach, we are helped with the ceramic supply companies create glazes in bottles, and you can buy it and experiment with them. But it still takes experimentation, even though it's already made for you. How do you combine them, and it can have spectacular results when you combine 3 glazes together and let it melt in the second glaze firing.
Or bumping a color up or down.
Yes.
Sometimes you want something to be a little more translucent.
Yes, yes, yes.
So let's see the next image.
That is a story that started in England. Hans Koper was who inspired me with his incredible work, a British sculptor, ceramic sculptor, and they're in the Victoria and Albert Museum. And Lucy Ree was the other one in England who inspired me with the wheel-thrown pieces. Anyway, Hans Koper experimented. These are actually wheel-thrown pieces out of 3 parts. The top part is one, and then the middle part you throw on the wheel, and then you alter the shape into a triangle when it's still leather hard. And then the bottom part is a vase kind of shape that you put together with, and then you put them together. Now, what happened to me, I've done so many of these wheel thrown and handmade that I actually made a plaster Paris form so I could repeat it more often, and these are made out of the plaster Paris mold and then shaped and fired and glazed. So I can then express things on these shapes. I sometimes silk screen. The Kennedy tragedy is one of my parts that I actually silk screened on these, a larger form of these idols. I call them idols. And you know, you can have textures on them, and it's just amazing how many different ways you can deal with these shapes.
Okay, we have about 1 minute left for the show. Any last comments in terms of something, that advice you would give people wanting to get into ceramics?
I highly recommend it as a medium that you can. It's therapy, and it's just a wonderful thing that keeps you busy and happy and content.
Thank you so much for being on Corinne's Picks, and maybe we can come back. You can come back, and we can talk about some more of your art.
Thank you, Corinne, so much.
All right.
I'ma show you how to party.